What's going on YouTube? Eddie McDonald here, first time vlogging. I know I've been throwing up some workout videos, but now I'm trying to reach more into different areas of YouTube. Basically expressing my theories and my fitness training and basically just life in general. As far as some of the training ideals I have, those are a little far-fetched. Not everybody's ready for what I'm thinking, but at the end of the day, I want to express it because these are some of the things I'm thinking and some of the things I go through as I'm trying to develop myself in working out, if not just life in general. So, let's just start off with first things first. I'm a big anime fan, big superhero fan. I love heroes, comic books, all that kind of nature of just heroic things because at the end of the day, I think each and every one of us want to be a hero deep down inside. So, to really say you're not working out for a greater cause than other just yourself, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, I know I love to work out in a sense of benefiting just me. So if you want to talk about the reason why I work out, we're talking survival. We're talking to be able to play ball with the kid when I'm 60, 70, to be able to live a long life, to be able to be healthy and remain healthy. I think that's one of the biggest things as far as why I take fitness so serious. Being healthy isn't just a matter of, I guess, going and seeing your chiropractor and then going and seeing a massage therapist. Like, all that is played out. You really need to take care of yourself, and exercise is honestly the fountain of youth. I don't see any other way around it. At the end of the day, when you want to look at statistics, you're curing a lot of illnesses slash diseases or preventing, if at anything, if you're exercising versus other methods of trying to keep your health in check, which nowadays through the health industry, I feel like is pills and more pills. So, I really don't know. Pills and more pills. Because at the end of the day, when your doctor's telling you, hey, ignore your pain, take this, instead of recommending physical exercise or rehabilitation in a recovery sense, I think they're just missing the whole point in general. Fitness is not just some guy trying to Hulk out. Of course, I love to lift. I'm a 4-time record holder, 3 national, 1 state. I'm working on my 5th national record. So, I feel like I know quite a bit about lifting at this point, and I love to lift myself. But at the end of the day, I always recognize and understand it as a beneficiary support to my health in the long run. Even though I'm lifting extreme weights that the body wasn't meant to be, the body wasn't meant to lift these weights. It just, us elites are just pushing ourselves to like the top for no reason. You're going to run into aches and injuries. You're trying to push a certain amount of weight. It's really, it's really strenuous on your body. So you can't just fling yourself out there and then next thing you know, you're handling and recovering like a champ. Like, that's not how it works. At the end of the day, though, lifting in general is still good for you. More so the full range of motion movements. I always recommend going full range of motion. So if it's the bench press, I'd probably rather do close grip bench presses. If it's the squat, I would rather do the high bar back squat, all the way down, all the way up. If it's the deadlift, I would rather conventional deadlift. For most people, you're going to benefit more from the full range of motion because it's already proven in scientific literature that you're going to get more hypertrophy gains from the full range of motion than making it a partial or cutting it off. So essentially, I'm always challenging myself in the most difficult way possible, not only in relation to movement and health in general, but then if you want to perform on the field and take it to an athletic standpoint, you're looking at full range of motion enabling you to be able to be capable of doing anything that it is you need to do with a good amount of expression. And what I would like to abbreviate that expression for is the amount of force you produce and how you make it look when it comes time or when it comes playing time on the field. So how someone tackles and just nails somebody, that literally can be enabled or supported by full range of motion squats. You're going to have a better ability to get deep and then deliver force into your opponent when you're stronger versus not being as strong as you could be through building up your squat. So, full range of motion over partial, when you look at it, when you look at, I guess for the example we're using, tackling somebody, when you look at football in general, you're talking about people being in different positions all the time. So if I'm a linebacker and I have to explode through somebody, why wouldn't I want to train the full range of motion, knowing that I'll be strong in all ranges of the motion when I go to tackle somebody than just coming from parallel and up? So I know there's a lot of ego lifting to the low bar squat, or maybe some people who are cutting the range of motion short. I don't necessarily believe in that. You should definitely go full range of motion. If you have to start light, work your way up to higher weights. And if that takes time, that takes time. I myself have been doing this for 10 years plus, so I know what it means to have the time behind my strength, so that I'm not just up here telling you something like, oh, you can achieve this, you can achieve this. You need to be realistic with yourself and let yourself build up and get that foundation first. So a lot of people take their game with starting off their lifting career with all these big compound movements and whatnot, and they think that's all they need to do and walk out the gym. I believe with more elite lifters, since you're trying to confuse the muscles and damage and break them down at best, when you get to an elite level, you get to a point where the muscles have been through so much that basically overload and compound movements are going to be essentially the meat and potatoes and the bulk of your workout. However you scheme that out, whatever program you're using, that's on you. But when you go from beginner to elite, that's a whole different journey in itself. With beginners, I think they need to start with more of the bodybuilding foundations. Build up their muscle, be a little bit more attentive to the small musculature within their frame. So, if they need to build up their shoulders, side laterals, delt work, a little bit more isolation work, a little bit more machine work, just to supplement the compound movements that they'll be doing first in order to establish good, efficient movement and health necessarily when it comes to overall life perspective. So when you're talking about living out and then being able-bodied up until your 60s and 70s, full range of motion movement is definitely going to benefit you the most. But when you're talking about survival tactics, just being in the jungle, I have the whole program, the Gorilla program, coming out soon. I'll develop workouts for that. But the Gorilla program essentially is just something I take myself and tell myself that to anyone listening, if you were ever in an apocalyptic or a survival situation, then you're talking about being out in the wild, being out in the jungle or the city, however that comes about. You're going to have to be able to do several things as far as athleticism, whether it's a bend, lunge, twist, jump, throw, squat, pull, it is what it is. So to be able to be functionally fit and then to be able to be strong enough is basically what I'm trying to combine with the two, and essentially tell you that it's not just going to do you good to be able to go all day, but it's not going to do you good just to be so strong and fat and slow and can't jump. To be in the middle and be in between is basically that gorilla mindset, that you're in the jungle, you have to survive, you can do anything. And I know this may seem like it's unreachable to some of you, but it's really not. Because at the end of the day, it's about being better than what you were yesterday. And beating yourself is ultimately the best goal you can do, or is the best goal you can have, because it's more reachable and you're not comparing yourself to others. At the end of the day, to always compare yourself to yourself and reach your own goal would be the best ultimatum, in my opinion, as far as letting you see the overall process of how you can realistically obtain this goal, achieve it, attain this goal, achieve it, attain this goal, achieve it, and then build off of that in a long-run process that allows you to develop over time. So with a timeline that's realistic, you can take yourself and develop and not have to necessarily injure yourself. But with the Gorilla program, you get that confidence through the exercise selection, through the programming, through the schematic system of how I program the Gorilla program with being heavy lifting. But that's when you get to that point. I have all different categories, right? So anyway, essentially, the Gorilla program is focusing on that functional exercise, that functional perspective of if you had to do more than just the norm, would you be capable? And this isn't saying you're going to be you're going to be jumping as high as a high jumper. That's not what it is to say. But if you go from really not being able to jump at all and then being able to jump at least 12 inches, that's a lot better than not being able to do what you were just doing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even save your life if you wanted to. Like, that's the ultimate goal, to be able to not only save your life, but then others, And I just believe as a man, especially as a man, that you were put on this earth and you were meant to do so much. So why waste the talent? Why waste the time? Us men were protectors, our hunters, our gatherers. We should be able to have that ability to go out and seek. I know we're in a different time. We're in modern comfortability, and technology is growing to a point that allows us more comfortability. But we always have to remain focused in the sense of anything can happen. I really don't, wish anything bad upon Earth. But hey, I live personally in the USA, so it's good. It's good over here for now. There's still some whatever, but a lot of comfortability over here. We should all be grateful for the living conditions that we're in if we're able to live freely and not have to worry about a lot. There's people out there that really go through those kind of things, and so us as the people, were blessed over here. But at the end of the day, I like to usually think about some of the realistic perspectives as far as staying in shape. And I know I'm young, but as I grow older, I understand it won't all be me jumping this high, running this fast. At the end of the day, though, I'll also still have that confidence to be able to do something. So I'm not trying to push anyone to know Conan perspective, like, hey, you need to go this hard to be this. If you're 40 and you're working, you're 9 to 5, and you're a dad, I get it. At the end of the day, though, beating yourself only leads to better success and more success in the long run. Because if you continuously beat yourself, then you at least continuously get better. And that's all we want. So that's it for today. Just a little tiring, so stay tuned, putting out more vlogs, putting out more informational videos, more instructional videos, putting out some more highlights of my training, everyday training that I do, and some more of my philosophy, some of my ideals, how I think, how I like to motivate myself, and what keeps me driven